Hey guys, what's going on? Dropship Tyler here, and I am here with my partner Anthony, and he is the co-creator of the automated dropshipping blueprint course. And I want to go ahead and Anthony, let's make sure that if you guys can hear us okay and everything like that, just let us know in the chat, and then I will let Anthony introduce himself. But I just want to make sure you guys actually hear everything I'm saying before.
Yeah, Tyler just set up this whole new studio in his house, so it's a little bit of our first run, I guess, going like this. So we just want to make sure everything's working. But it's good to see everybody here.
All right. So Andrew said he can hear us. All right, perfect. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to moderate. I'm going to answer y'all, or I'm going to let Anthony kind of answer y'all's questions or tell him what y'all are talking about here. But Anthony, go ahead. Let's introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Anthony. I'm from North Carolina, which is where we are right now. So I actually live in Medellin, Colombia, in South America. So I just got here to North Carolina about a week ago, and I'm here in person with Tyler. We live close together. That's kind of part of the story of how we met a little bit.
Yeah.
Location was definitely played a part, but I actually came by on Friday to help Tyler move some of his stuff in, and we decided then that we'll do a live, I think, this week, and here I am. So
yeah, and hopefully, guys, I'm using a webcam right now to stream this. I saw somebody said that the quality is bad, and I wish you could see our setup because it's kind of hilarious with this webcam on a tripod. But I'm getting a better camera. I asked, Paul J. Lipsky today what camera he uses. I will be getting that. So do not focus on the video quality for now. Also, you will hear an echo in the microphone because I do not have any soundproofing or anything like that. But hopefully we can at least provide some great content outside of the video quality issues we have and the sound bouncing off the walls. But yeah, just to see who we have here, let's just go ahead and so we got 37 people watching right now. And I'm sure we got Andrew from the
Andrew. I saw Claire from the mentorship also is in here. Awesome. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm sure there's other people anyone who's in the mentorship group, just say hi in the chat so we know you're here. The mentorship group's been pretty cool. We're kind of like got a little community going with everyone in the group, and I've spent a lot of time talking with people over the last, I guess like 6 to 8 weeks, however long it's been going for. And
we have over 60 people now in that mentorship group.
Over 60. I don't know the exact amount, but there's definitely a lot of people in the group, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, it's honestly been probably the coolest project I don't know, I'm not going to speak for you, but at least for me, I've started in like the second half of this year for sure. I mean, I've gotten to talk to so many different people for 30 minutes to an hour at a time, sometimes even longer than that. And you don't really realize that. I thought when we started it that I was pretty expert at dropshipping, and now I've heard people's problems from pretty much everything you could think of. Pretty much, I've gone over ideas with so many different people, and I've seen people experiment. I've told people every once in a while jokingly that like their idea for a strategy is going to be like a guinea pig for how we maybe decide to change things we tell people or things like that.
If it's successful.
If it works, right. So
yeah. So I guess you touched on the fact that you live kind of close, and I mean when you're not in Colombia, obviously, your parents live kind of close, so when you're home for holidays, whatever, you're visiting them. But the way we actually met is Anthony is a professional poker player, and I used to dabble in the world of online poker. I never could call myself a pro, although I did have some pretty big scores.
Yeah, you did.
So I never was a professional, but I would talk to people online. I think we were at the same final table one time, and I saw he was from Charlotte, and that's actually how I started talking to Anthony. So it was really weird that it was just a random connection that we made online. And
it's crazy because we started talking in, I don't know, I know a lot of you guys maybe haven't played online poker, but there's like the little chat with everyone at the table can see and everyone who's watching the table can see. And somehow we just started talking in the little chat box on an online. That's how we met each other. And then like he gave me like his Skype or his Facebook or something, and then that was like 5 or 6 years ago. And we just have kind of kept in contact, maybe like on like a monthly basis, kind of him just asking me questions about like what's going on in poker and stuff like that. And I think you might have still been in school or had just finished school when we met. So
yeah, I was in school. I was in at UNC Charlotte. I remember it was my second year there. So I believe it was 2012 is when
that was a long time.
Yeah, it's when we were at that final table. But yeah, on and off, I've talked with Anthony, and I got into dropshipping, and I kind of started telling you about it.
Yeah, the crazy thing was that, well, the first thing I wanted to say was like, it's crazy how these little small connections that you make with somebody, and then we just kind of kept in touch. I think we both saw each other as like intelligent people that had interesting ideas, but we never actually met each other until like a year ago, which is pretty crazy. But the one thing I would say though is pretty cool about, I guess, like online, businesses, poker, whatever, is that you can actually meet somebody that you end up having like these multi-year friendships, or like, where you talk to these people and it ends up paying off like crazy big in the future, where we actually now like collaborate with like a lot of our business together. So
I mean, who would have thought that poker would turn into creating an e-commerce course?
Yeah.
6 years later. That's what's crazy. We got success with Sully here. He says Tyler looking strong.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I'm a small person, but
also I did hit the back and the biceps today for the first time in a while, so maybe that's it. And then we got Kristen in here. I gotta highlight this comment because this is too good. Kristen Springer says, "Yeah, Tyler is def hot." There you go, guys. You heard it here first.
All right, but I'd like to see a little love for me too. So
all right. We'll see. Get Yaren here, and we'll get Anthony's girlfriend to start hitting up the chat here. But anyway, success with Sully. Want to give him a shout out. He is actually the e-commerce couple on Instagram, and he is one of the first guys that I actually masterminded with, along with Paul J. Lipsky and Ecom J. So success with Sully. I hear he's making a YouTube channel all about eBay dropshipping. What's crazy about this guy is he actually does everything manual.
Oh, wow.
So he uses no repricing software, anything like that. I think he uses TrackerBot, but outside of that, this guy's literally from day one. He was in David Vu's course, all manual.
It's pretty cool.
It's freaking insane.
And I know you're dabbling that a little bit in the manual store, but it would probably be interesting to get some videos from someone who's been doing it for years.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm curious too. I'm curious too if he actually saw a drop. I think I talked to him and he said he saw a little drop, but he's doing a lot of interesting stuff now outside of dropshipping. And it's crazy where dropshipping will lead you, because now he's actually doing Amazon FBA, where he's doing retail arbitrage from Home Depot. But I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's kind of his thing that, but so he uses TrackerBot and Spot and Paste. Yeah, man, glad you can make it to the live, Sully. Appreciate it. All right, so shoot for the stars. Let's go ahead and start answering a couple questions. So shoot for the stars wants to know if we snipe, and people. And again, like, I'm going to be kind of moderating this whole thing, and I want Anthony to give his perspective on most stuff. You guys hear a lot about what I say and all of that. So this is more to hear what Anthony has to say. So yeah, do you snipe?
Yeah, so I definitely snipe. I think sniping is one of the most effective methods right now. I think the other aspect of that is that if you aren't sniping, you're going to get sniped. So if I could tell somebody to optimize all your titles, and you could be the best title optimizer in the world, but then everyone else's your titles are going to get put in the pool of everyone else who's sniping you. So at the end of the day, sniping is just the way the ecosystem works. And in terms of, I guess, like, if I were to tell somebody, if someone were to ask me what's a more important strategy, to optimize all your titles originally or to snipe them, I would be pretty close to saying that sniping is the more time efficient way of doing it. So
100%.
I think that if I think there's a point where maybe you could exhaust a lot of the titles that are already out there, and you maybe would get to the point of wanting to do some of your own personal original title optimization. But in terms of starting out, especially if you're new, sniping is like the key to success, in my opinion. And most of the people in our mentorship group that I've recommended, I've taken them who weren't sniping and heavily emphasized the importance of sniping, has seen, I think across the board, everyone who's done that has seen a dramatic increase in sales and success.
Oh yeah, I mean, so the whole point of sniping, just from my point of view, and like you said, time efficiency, is the fact that most of these people we're sniping are the ones who take the time to optimize their titles anyway.
Right.
So it's just like, yes, it kind of sucks that, you know, we're all going to be sharing the same titles who are all sniping the same sellers. But if your store is big enough, obviously, you know, you're going to find some smaller sellers in there that, you know, only a few people are really searching for. But
Definitely.
yeah, it's so much better to be for the search ranking and for time efficiency and all that, to be sniping sellers who create those optimized titles.
One other aspect that didn't appear as, I guess, obviously to me until I started doing the mentorship is that if there's enough sales on eBay to go around with a lot of items, and I've looked at people's dashboards and I've seen their top seller that they've sold 55 times be a top seller on my dashboard that I've sold 55 times. So that item, just because it's in the pool of snipe where everyone's kind of getting that item, it doesn't mean that you know, there's no sales for everybody. So I know maybe in the past, maybe 5 years ago, maybe you could be the only person selling the item 1,000 times a month, but that just doesn't exist in pretty much any capacity for, especially Amazon to eBay dropshipping, but really in any type of major source to eBay dropshipping at this time. So it is a little bit, I do feel bad sometimes for the people that are putting in all the work in optimizing the titles and then it's just getting sniped by people. But I think it's one of those things where if you want to compete in this industry, you kind of have to do it. So
it's a dog eat dog world out there, man.
Definitely.
One thing I do want to say, I don't know if you remember me telling you this at the beginning. Do you remember I used to tell you I used to snipe Israeli sellers and Thai sellers?
Oh yeah.
And like the reasoning behind it, because they were putting in so much work to be able to get a margin with their like additional fees, not having the 5% cashback, all of that. And what's funny now is well, not funny, kind of sad. Like a lot of those dropshippers don't exist anymore because they can't compete.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's definitely been a difficult last 6 months on eBay, and I think it's kind of moved to lower margins being more successful. Although I will say something that maybe not everyone is aware of, but in October to November, I increased my margins from 4 to 6%, and I actually saw a 40% growth in my sales from October to November. And I'm also running a new store recently, and I'm putting a 10% margin on that store, and it's selling. Tyler saw my sales earlier today. It's going crazy. So
it's insane.
Definitely,
new stores are so good.
Definitely, new stores are crazy. But the whole idea of price being the biggest driver of sales on eBay it may be the case, but it's definitely not the only metric they're looking at. So I've seen items that sell on one of my accounts for 10%. And then on another student's account, I'm seeing it sell on their account for 1%. So why is it selling on two accounts for one account at 10% margin and another at 1%?
Because that flag.
It's because of the flag. So to be honest, you know, price competition is not everything. So
yeah, but what is interesting though is I do try to stress that flagged accounts can still grow.
Yes.
And you saw that on mine. Like literally, I think I'm at like $180,000 in sales almost in the past 30 days. And that's on flagged accounts, guys. And like before it was like 110 to 120,000 was like what I was seeing for the past 30 days. So it's like the growth is insane from what I've been able to do just by adding more items, deleting items all the time, whatever.
Let's talk about flagged accounts a little bit because it seems like it's one of the big topics and everyone wants to talk about. And one of the things that I think a lot of people fall into, and I'll definitely count myself guilty, is that once you get an account flagged, it really is kind of demotivating. Like you lose motivation because you realize that like the future is not going to be as good as the past. And so, and when you realize that, it's like, why am I going to put in all this work when 2 weeks ago this work would have been worth double or something? But at the end of the day, to be able to survive going forward and for us to think of dropshipping as a viable future, you have to be able to find a solution that turns these flagged accounts into something that's making you some money in some way. And for a while, you know, I had used different strategies, used different ideas, and I had gotten those accounts moving in a positive direction. But me and you, we talk with Joe a decent amount privately, and maybe you guys saw his video he did with Tyler a couple of weeks ago. But Joe has really proven to like everybody that you know, if your flagged account isn't working for you, it's probably because you're not working hard enough. And
or working smart enough.
Yes.
You gotta know how to treat it. But sorry.
I mean, so I think the interesting thing that at least I got out of that was that I realized I wasn't working as hard as Joe is. And, the reason why Joe's success is maybe a few multipliers higher than mine is that from talking to him personally, I realized, at the end of the day, it always comes down to that, right? Who's working the hardest and who's working the smartest. And that kind of rebuilt my motivation. And now I'm seeing my flagged accounts improving quite a bit. So
yeah, it's wild. I was feeling kind of down about the flagged account thing. And then, then I talked to Joe. I remember having a conversation with him. I was actually at the dog park with my dog, and I called him. And for those of you guys that don't know, Joe was like my mentor when I first started. And I called him, and I was just like, man, I can't get the sales up on this account. Oh, and he's sitting there reassuring me, you can get the sales up on the account. You're just not doing the right things, blah, 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 whatever. And, he kind of talked me off the ledge a little bit. And from there, I've actually grown the account. Yes. So it was just having that confidence and reassurance from somebody, and like him giving me some tips on what to actually do.
And it matters a lot to see someone else do it, because one of the things that I think is tough for at least for me is that when you don't know if it's possible, sometimes you lose motivation. But the minute I realize someone can do something, I always ask myself, why can't I be doing the same as that guy, right? So
Agreed.
It's one of those things where I'm pretty confident in the fact that if I work hard at something, I'll be successful. I try to look at other people and say, like, if they can do it, I can do it. And I think in the sense where I saw Joe doing it, it made me kind of be a little bit more self-reflective and think about the times where maybe when I started getting less motivated, I stopped working as hard on that account and started looking at other things and working harder on those than on that eBay account.
I've grinded so hard on those accounts, and the results are paying off. Like it's crazy. Got my cousin from Virginia in here, William.
Oh, wow.
He says, hey, Tyler, we need to come to NC soon. William, thanks for finding my channel, man. Thanks for watching. Success with Sully says, let's get Tyler to 4K subs tonight. Remember to subscribe. I am very close to 4K.
Hit the subscribe button. We got to get there.
Man, it's wild. And I'm sure a lot of people in this live actually found my channel through Rake and Profit. But ever since I went on there, I'm getting a lot of subs. Autumn West says 61 watching, only 12 likes. I'm seeing 22 from my end. So
good job. Maybe Autumn West was the catalyst for everyone to hit the like button. So.
Yeah. William Whitfield says, is his course still relevant? And he's talking about, did everyone learn dropshipping from David Vu? That's an interesting topic, actually. And Paul and I actually talked a little bit about this. He came on my channel. We went live. The people today, like Success with Sully, David Vu guy, Ecom J, David Vu guy, Paul J. Lipsky, David Vu guy, me.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I ever looked at.
Because I told you.
Yeah, you told me look at David Vu.
So literally, I don't think it's like relevant, but I think it was kind of the thing that made the most sense and easiest to follow to get started.
Here's what I would say about David Vu's course is David Vu's course isn't going to be a step-by-step guide to making money now. It's going to be a step-by-step, or maybe not a step-by-step guide, but it's more of like a theory of how this whole thing works. And it will get your brain spinning and thinking about dropshipping. And to be honest, I actually think that taking David Vu's course may be the best first thing to start out with if you're completely new to the idea. Yeah. Because one of the things that I think is a little bit tough with new courses, ours included, is that it's so step-by-step. Our course is almost like a step A to step Z guide where you could go and watch all the videos and by the end have an idea to put into place and make money. But we're less teaching the theory as much as he is. So if you watch his course, you actually might think of like a completely creative new idea of dropshipping because you're not being as much walked through step 1 to step 2 to step 3 with all these absolutes more or less. And I think in the newer courses, we're more telling you, like, if you follow this recipe, you'll have success. Then hopefully by the end of it, you'll also start to be creative and think of your own way, but you're still going to be thinking of dropshipping in that, I guess, that path to some extent.
And you know what's interesting about dropshipping then versus now is then, so all of the strategies pretty much worked. Like you could do a Jack Pittman strategy where you bulk listed. It was profitable for him for a little bit. It wasn't profitable towards the end. The 1.4 markup method and optimization, I made money on that. And then once I found Sale Freaks, and doing the bulk sniping method, I mean, that's when I really started to, make a lot of money. But I tried all of the strategies along the way. And it's kind of like, a poker in a sense, I guess. You can try to do all these different things and you learn from experience or whatever, and then analyze the results and then just keep going.
Right.
So we started in a time where a mistake wasn't that costly, but I mean, you could do anything you wanted to do to learn and it wouldn't hurt you, and you would just learn more and more and more. And then you could keep optimizing your strategy and whatever. I mean, we've had 2 years. The people that I talk to have had 2 years now to come up with their strategy that works for them. That's probably why all these people are still successful today.
Yes.
In did the David Vu course. So
yeah, and it's easier when you're playing an easier game. So when the game was easier 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or even, like you had Joe on your channel, or even Matt in the past you had on your channel, and they talked about thinking they invented dropshipping. So when there's not even like a resource to like go online and type in dropshipping and stuff comes up 5-10 years ago or whatever, the competition's so much less. And people that are used to using repricing software will realize that an item that has no competition, you can sell at really high margins.
Yeah.
And the difference now is that a lot of people know about this idea, so there is definitely more competition. That doesn't mean that you can't be successful. It just means that the margins are different, and some of the strategies are not the same as they were, 3, 5, 10 years ago.
So Luxury Car Store says, I didn't like David Vu's course at all, and that's what motivated me to get to the other courses to learn more. Well, that's like we were talking about. It's more, you have to think about, okay, so he did this in 2016 or 2015. How has this changed to today? You really have to think about it in like a theory perspective rather than, like you said, a step-by-step guide. Because the courses that obviously, we made ours 2 months ago.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks ago. So we made ours 6 weeks ago. Started making it 2 months ago. But anyway, all that information is still relevant. And what's great about us waiting to create a course, and when I was down in Nicaragua with Mark, if you guys know about that, where I went and visited him in January, it didn't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. He was encouraging me to create a course. So he was saying, there's so many people out there that want to learn, whatever, you can make so much money off of a course. And that wasn't my priority at the time. It was literally just to keep scaling my dropshipping and Amazon businesses as big as they could. And I'm actually glad I do see somebody like Paul who's done a great job teaching people how to dropship and all that. Yeah, but yes, he has made a lot of money doing it too. But at the same time, I look at our course and say, okay, our course came out 2 months ago. We're the newest one out there right now. And we also are our strategy works with flagged accounts.
Yes.
So it's like the fact we waited to do a course after April 20th when all of the stuff went to, shit the bed and sales went down and we had to build our accounts back up. I think it's more relevant now,
It's definitely more relevant. And the crazy thing is that we saw it in the mentorship group that a lot of our mentees, I guess you could call them, our mentorship students have been super successful since they started in the group. So it's definitely possible to be successful now. And that kind of gave us the motivation to know that the product we're putting out is going to help people. I mean, It's pretty hard to fail if you follow the guide that we do in the course. I mean,
for sure.
It's really is step A to step Z. And sure, there is certain aspects of a personality that you need to have to be successful. And in no way are we saying we guarantee you're going to make thousands of dollars if you take the course. But I mean, if you take the course and you if you put the concepts into play, I mean, there's nothing holding you back from as high as you want to go in this business. So
agreed. So Success with Sully actually says that there's a new title and picture for the David Vu course.
Wow, I didn't see that.
And that's why nobody can find it. So yeah, Success with Sully. I don't care. I mean, I'm all about sharing information. So if you've got the new David Vu course, go ahead and post it in here. Don't hold out on us.
Yeah,
well, not new, but new title and all that.
Sure.
By the way, guys, just before we start answering more questions, I do want to say that we are doing a 50% off holiday special on our course, and that is in the description below. You can see the link. I believe. Let me just click on the link real quick. Yeah, so the coupon code is holiday special, all caps, if you go directly to ecomscholars.com and want to buy the course from there. But it's $73.50. with that code. So yeah, but let's actually look at some of these questions. So one person, this is a good question. One person said, "Is it tough to start with Sale Freaks, or do you need 2,000 plus listings?"
Okay, so my opinion is that you do not need the 2,000 plus listings. The one big advantage of getting the 2,000 plus listings is that you get access to the mentorship group that Tyler and I get. And the reason that, we'd like to give that mentorship to more people, the people that had lower plans, but it's Sales Freak is in charge of that. So it's not really up to us. They're not going to give us the same benefits that we're getting for everyone who has 2,000 or more listings. So that would be the only reason I would say to go for 2,000 or more listings.
The mentorship is huge, right?
Because the mentorship group is really going to help you get through all of your sticking points. I mean, any of the people in the chat will probably say that are in the mentorship will probably say that's a really, really good resource. I think in terms of Sales Freak content, it's probably our chat, I would say, and maybe this is being a little bit braggy, but I would think it's probably the best resource of finding information, especially for someone starting out on the internet for Sales Freak.
And what's awesome about the mentorship now is a lot of people in there already know exactly what we would tell somebody to do anyway. So they're confident enough to go ahead and answer the question themselves. So you're not just getting access to like us if you're in the mentorship. I mean, you get a one-on-one with Anthony or I, and you can hit us up for questions anytime. But it's more about being in like a mastermind for free. That's huge. That's 60 plus people with,
Yeah, and I mean, we really try our best to put a lot of effort into that group. I mean, I know that I spend a decent amount of my time every day answering questions in the group, answering personal questions, doing one-on-one interviews or doing one-on-one meetings with people, talking about strategy. So I think we've put a lot of effort into the group. And in my opinion, if you're willing to make the investment for the 2,000 listings, you will almost definitely get your money's worth from the fact of being in the group. I know Tyler charges, how much do you charge per hour if you do private meetings?
So I was doing $100 an hour, but I was getting too many. So I raised it to $200 an hour, and now I don't get any. So I got a couple.
2,000 listings costs, I think, like $100 a month maybe on Sales Freak. Or
we'll have to look at the price.
I'm not exactly sure, so don't take my word on that.
50% off.
Yeah, so they're doing the 50% discount, which you also get as part of the 2,000 listings. So in terms of that, you're already making money because you don't have to pay Tyler $200 for his time. And
it's true.
So, but to go a little further, I do think it's fine to. It looks like it's $150, right?
Yeah, $150 with the 50%
for the 50% discount. So, but the one thing I would say is you don't have to do that. You can go and start with 100 listings or the free trial. That's all possible. And if you're in a situation where the investment isn't there for you, you don't have the money to do that, and you're really trying to pinch pennies as best as possible, then start out small and get to 2,000 and then ask to be in the mentorship at that point. Yeah. But I would say that, I mean, I can't put a number on it, but I would say that it dramatically increases your chances of success to be in the mentorship group off the bat. So,
for sure. And a lot of this, because of the fact everything's step by step, a lot of it's not so much like, technical as it is like mental.
Yes.
So like it's a very big mental game getting over some of these humps that you have to deal with in dropshipping. And I can tell right now there's people in the mentorship group that some people like to vent in the mentorship group. And it's understandable because I did that like when I first started, with just random things like getting Amazon accounts closed or dealing with, stuff eBay's asking for or PayPal's asking for, whatever. And I told someone today, I was like, I don't even really remember dealing with these things. Like I know I dealt with them, but I don't remember because I just had it in my head that I was just going to continue on and on and on. And like not worry about what eBay or PayPal.
Yeah, I mean, I had those problems too, but I also would talk to Tyler, and Tyler would say, in 3 months you won't have to worry about this. Yeah, so then I would just be like, okay, this sucks right now. I'm working harder right now, or I'm stressed out about this right now. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's one of the things that I do think the mentorship group helps out a lot is just having people to motivate you to and you're seeing other people that will say like, I mean, I just saw Jeremy post in the chat and he started in like middle of October.
Yeah.
And so people, anytime people would be struggling, I would just say to them, look at Jeremy's progress since the middle of October. Yeah. And it's like, at that point you don't really have any room to make an excuse, because if someone else did it, then, it's either, I mean, for sure, some people got more unlucky than others in the group with things that happened. But at the end of the day, it's, if you can see, and Jeremy's not the only one, Claire's doing great. A lot of people in the group are doing great.
Claire's crushing.
Are just crushing.
And hopefully you're still there, Claire. You hear our praise.
And And I think it does help the people that are starting out and maybe going through tougher times or getting unlucky and having things not work out. I think it helps them to see that other people are being successful because they actually see the light at the end of the tunnel too. And I think for me personally, me having Tyler and seeing Tyler's success and me thinking, am I 3 months behind Tyler? And Tyler saying, yeah, man, keep doing it. And this problem is a short-term problem. That really helps you get through that. Because there's times where I'm like, this is a pain in the ass. And I don't want to do this anymore. And then when you look at someone else and you say, okay, I can get there, it definitely pushes you over the hump and like does that extra work. And like anyone who's done this long enough knows that dropshipping, you're getting hit with attacks from all areas, right? Yeah. Like there's always something that's annoying or that comes up. And what ends up happening is the longer you get into this, the longer you do it, the easier you are able to tackle those problems.
For sure. And the way I look at dropshipping is like, it's very fun learning at the beginning. Once you learn everything, then it just becomes tedious. And then once you have it automated, I don't even log into my eBay account or whatever, but it's wild. Like I do everything through Sale Freaks and my VAs do everything through eBay and like all that stuff for me. So yeah, it was very fun. Then it was tedious. And now it's kind of like relaxing and like it's fun again because I'm just focusing on the strategy part. And my VAs are focusing on, the BS customer service that you have to deal with in this business. But yeah, I enjoyed it again. I really do. Over summer, man, I don't know if you remember me talking to you, but over summer I was so over it at one point, and I was over YouTube and I was over everything. And then all of a sudden, like something just like sparked in me again. But yeah, so you guys that are in like a little slump or whatever with drop shipping, definitely don't give up. Like there is a point where it all becomes fun again when you automate the stuff you need to automate.
Definitely. Right now I'm having a lot of fun with eBay. I mean, I didn't tell you this, but I mean, it's true. Like the last couple weeks, I've really enjoyed it. I've been doing like new stuff. The Sales Freak just came out with a coupon hunter, which is,
dude, that's amazing.
It just automatically lists coupon items for you on a daily basis. And the really cool thing about it is I had it set to 300 listings a day. So it was just listing 300 listings every day like clockwork. And it actually motivated me to start doing more pruning and deleting of items because, I was traveling with the baby and my girlfriend to get here, and I was just busy. And for the last week or two, I didn't do a lot of item management. And since I got Coupon Hunter going, I'm just going in there every morning. I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna delete 400 items today.
Oh yeah.
And the results have actually spoken for them. Like the results. I mean, I know it's a good time.
Your SCR is actually higher than mine.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. So
for those of you guys that don't know what SCR is, it's sales conversion rate. It's a metric that's on Sale Freaks, but yeah, the higher it is, that means the more sales you get per 100 items that you have per month on a monthly basis. But anyway, so one person said earlier in here, they said, "Who's this kid next to Tyler?" So this is Anthony, and the reason he looks so young is because you're Filipino, right?
Yes.
Are you? How much Filipino are you?
I'm half Filipino, I think. So
half Filipino. All right, so
I'm actually
offended if I said maybe one of your VAs, or maybe one of my VAs is related to you.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. And I'm actually older than Tyler, so.
Yeah, he is older than me, and he has a child. As surprising as that is, guys, but he is Filipino, so he does have the advantage there on the age aspect.
I look young for sure. I live in a country where you only have to be 18 to drink, and I still sometimes get asked for my identification. So.
That's awesome. In Colombia, yeah, 18 to drink. That's funny. All right, so yeah, I don't even get asked for my ID here. It's kind of sad. I'm 26.
I get every single time here. I can't. In Colombia, it's every once in a while, but
every time I say I'm 26, though, there's
they're like, oh, I should have asked him for his ID.
No. Every time I say I'm 26 in the chat, there's always people like, I can't believe that guy's 26. I thought he was 35.
That's really flattering, like,
right? Oh, no. I just cussed. I apologize. I'm not trying to be Mark from No BS Dropshipping over here. Sorry, guys. But yeah, anyway. All right, so Bobby says, hit that like button. 65 people here.
Hey, Bobby actually has a YouTube channel himself, and I did a mentorship session with him, and he's a really sharp guy. I love Bobby.
All right, there you go, guys. Subscribe to Bobby Sirarath.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell him to put his YouTube in the chat, because I think he has. YouTube. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so go check it out. Classic Tyler pushing the boundaries live. I wonder what the boundaries he was talking about were.
It was the F word.
Maybe.
That was fast though. That was a fast.
Oh, push. No, I think it was about the Philippines.
Oh.
But I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. So Mossy says, hey, from Sydney, Australia. It's kind of cool to see who's always here. So actually, go ahead, guys. I want to see where everyone's from. If you guys will just say in the chat, what state you're in, what country you're in. I always think that's one of the coolest things of seeing.
One cool thing about the mentorship group is I actually got to meet a guy in person in Colombia that was a Sales Freak user. So I went to the mall. We got a taxi. We met up. We talked for an hour, and I think he went back to Florida for a little bit, but he said he's coming back in the new year, so we're gonna go out and have drinks one night. So.
Nice, that'd be awesome. So you made another friend through dropshipping.
I met a friend in a third world country from dropshipping.
But he's from the U.S.
Yeah,
right?
he's from Florida.
Yeah. So Liv, while everyone's saying where they're from, Liv, your protest says Amazon TBA tracking convert to eBay. Blue Care Express. Sale Freaks was one of the first people to integrate that into their system, so all TBA tracking gets uploaded as Blue Care Express. Then you can go to aftership.com to win the cases. I believe it was converted directly, or it was integrated directly into eBay, wasn't it?
So now on eBay, it actually shows the progress of the package on eBay. You don't have to give them a link to 17tracker or aftership.com. So that's great. I mean, I've had probably 5 cases in the last 2 weeks with Blue Care tracking, and the customer service agent didn't give me any problem at all. He just instantly closed them in my favor. One of the cool things about Blue Care, which you were probably there for, but maybe 6-8 months ago, I remember in the Sales Freak chat, everyone hounding the Sales Freak admin saying we need to get a way to convert TBA to a different tracking number. And it's just one of the things I really like about Sales Freak is when we all complained about that to them, 6 months later, we have a solution. We're going to all become top rated sellers soon. Yep. It's pretty awesome to see that progress. So
that they just take what we want and
I remember
makes our lives so much
when people were discussing it, I think even Joe and Intui were in the chat, and they were saying that, I don't even know if it's possible. I remember there was it was difficult. It wasn't something that we thought was maybe feasible. And it's crazy to see that from that point there where we're all speculating and hoping maybe one day it'll happen to it actually happening. Yeah. It's a pretty cool process. And it's one of those things that if you're new to Sales Freak, you might not be seeing because you just got there, but it's awesome to see how things progress from being this something that's a problem into something that's now a huge positive for us.
What's funny about that though is most of the people on these softwares that are using automated softwares, they only voice anything when it's bad. Yeah. So I used to be one of those people too. I would just voice my opinion only when things were wrong, and instead of being grateful that there is automation that you can obviously we have to pay and we're customers of Sale Freaks, so we expect the best. Right. But any software out there, imagine all of the stuff that goes into the software, and I'm literally talking about any software, not just Sale Freaks. Anytime Amazon makes a change on their site or anything like that, Sale Freaks has to go in and make a change in their code. So it's should we really be that upset when things don't go right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those reasons why the monthly subscription thing's necessary. If you paid for a software up front, I know they don't work that way, but they would have no incentive to ever change as everything changes. Yeah, so exactly. It's one of those things where, and I guess one other thing that's been pretty cool is that Sales Freak has the coupons and the mystery rebates now. Oh yeah. And it's how much extra money are we going to make in a year?
Well, I'll say this. I literally, and I've said this on my last live, I think it's $700 now in the past 30 days. I've literally profited $700 from Sale Freaks just making the coupons a thing and Mr. Rebates a thing just in the past 30 days. That's not total. I've made almost $1,000 now from Mr. Rebates, just from
just in 1 month. So just imagine that in 12 months or 3 years, and so it's things like that where I know and maybe we're going a little bit heavy Sales Freak right now, but in the course, I had a few comments in the course of people saying Sales Freak is pretty expensive, and I think it is more expensive than most of the other options, but it's also something that just got us $700 a month in extra profit. So
literally,
and that other softwares aren't doing that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that I guess it's a little bit, I think people just don't really realize that they're always innovating and adding new stuff. I mean,
yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely easier to be a pessimist than.
Let's see those states though.
So Texas, Florida, Missouri, Dallas, Texas, Republic of Texas,
Well, Bobby, that's Jeremy too.
Yeah, Jennifer from
Jennifer's in the mentorship.
Yeah, Oregon.
Bobby from Boston.
Nice. All right, Jeff from Indiana, Jacksonville, Florida, Arkansas, Philly, Pennsylvania, Burbs, Philadelphia.
Wow.
They should meet up. Have a little dropshipping meetup. Sully's from Maryland.
We got a 1:30 in the morning in the UK.
Yeah, the Moza.
Nice.
The Moza. And actually, he said that he was. So there was a comment from the Moza up. I didn't read it because we moved on, but he was saying that he actually is in the VA course, the Ecom Scholars course, and he wanted to know if the mentorship group was still open.
Definitely.
And yeah, as long as you have 2,000 items, contact Sale Freaks and ask them to be in Dropship Tyler and Anthony's mentorship group. So yeah, that's big. And if you don't have 2,000 items, I highly suggest you get the course and go from there. But that was weird. What was that sound?
I think my computer's dying.
Okay. God, you're bad at these lives. You
Yeah,
gotta
I
cut
know.
off all the notifications. All right, so we got some more people here: Missouri, Key West, Argentina, but
Wow.
live in Florida. So yeah.
Hola, Argentina. Morocco.
Wow, dude, you know Spanish? You said hola?
I can say 2 words.
Just kidding, he's fluent. So Pennsylvania in a van down by the river. Ardmore. Dude, lots of Pennsylvanians here. All right, so
Arkansas. He said he's the only drop shipper from Arkansas. I don't think that's true, but we'll go with it.
Nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. What was he? I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, you totally got it.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That comment. Exactly. All right, so wait, let's see.
NC, look.
Does he even have whisker, dude? This Shane guy is just
He's ripping me. Yeah, I do actually, but I shave, so I could use it though. It's cold here. I need the extra protection. I shaved today.
That's what I'm growing mine in. It snowed, and I realized that my face was too bare. All right, so Mauricio Medina says NC. Wow, so you're close to us then, unless you're in the mountains, then you're not close to us, or on the
beach, yeah, or in a lot of ways, but
yeah,
everything in North Carolina is pretty spread out. But
exactly, yeah, it's funny. Actually, if you said you were from South Carolina, I'd probably think there's more of a shot of him being closer to us right now. All right, so wish y'all could do this every night, bro. Yeah, we do too, but we would not.
You guys would probably stop coming. Maybe you'd keep coming, but I don't know if everyone would be.
We were joking. We were saying it looks like we're in a commentator booth right now, like commentating on like high school sports or something.
Yeah, we're watching the high school basketball game or something.
Hopefully we don't look too ridiculous up here. I did. So this wall was white earlier, and if you saw my live from earlier, someone commented and said I looked like I was taken hostage by some terrorists and in like a white room where no one could tell where I was. So Anthony and I actually did hang this little picture up so you guys could have something nice to look at and it wouldn't look as bad.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys are enjoying the view there. All right, so we still got people telling us where they're from, but I think we moved on from that. But thank you guys. It's cool to see where everyone is for sure. All right, so will Anthony have a YouTube channel? So Anthony, what are your thoughts, I guess, on creating some sort of social media?
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to, but my original hang up on it was that the city I live in it's safe, but it's not really a place where you want to talk about like the amount of money you're making publicly. So if I do a YouTube channel, I'm probably going to not be very explicit about like my sales or success or things like that, only because I have a daughter. I don't want them to to have some kind of ransom situation. And that actually does happen in Costa Rica and in Colombia where I live. So I'm a little bit cautious about that, but I know Tyler and I have been talking about it and it could be coming soon. So.
Nice. Yeah, I think you mentioned the podcast, right?
Yes. So that is one thing we have planned. And we talked about it a little bit today. I was here for a few hours before we started this, just talking to Tyler about just general stuff of how we're going to move forward with everything we're collaborating on. And one thing we really want to do is I feel like there's not really a podcast out there for dropshipping, at least I've heard of. So maybe we can do something like where we're doing some kind of like one-on-one talk where we do a little interview and we do a little bit of dropshipping news, something like that. So that's something we're definitely planning. Hopefully, maybe in the beginning of the year, maybe January, we can get it going. So
that would be cool. One thing I do worry about is how much can you really talk about just dropshipping. But I do think for gaining like people who are new, I guess people who are constantly coming to the channel that are new. it really doesn't get old for them because they want to see new updated content. And even though 95% of what we say during a live is the same, maybe there's 5% else, so that we've learned in the past week that we can.
Well, I also just think the format. I mean, I know for myself, a lot of times I'll like go to the grocery store and I want to have something on to listen to while I'm like shopping or something, or I know sometimes I'll be washing the dishes and I want to put music on and or put a podcast on or something. So I think sometimes taking the format from video to audio is useful to some people, maybe if you're driving to work or something like that. So I just think it's good to be putting out. I know me and you have kind of been talking about this. The more content that you're creating for people is
the faster they're going to learn.
Yeah, the faster people learn, and it's pretty cool. So
yeah, maybe we'll create an audiobook. No, that's too much.
Yeah, that's maybe too much talking.
So all right. So Flight Sim Hero says do a podcast. Let's do a min. Oh wait, no. Actually, this person's been asking this question for a while. CH Enterprise says, what percentage returns do you consider normal? So what I consider normal and what eBay considers normal,
two different things.
Totally different ballgame, because eBay is now punishing people in like the home and garden category if you have over a 2% return rate. Like it's like 2.5%.
I have 1.38 and I'm still I still have to pay. So
it's
unbelievable,
gosh.
Right?
Dude, so I looked up online, like, and I think I told you this. The average rate of returns for a retail store is like 8%, or like online, it's like 8% or something based on some study or some whatever done by some big company. But 8%, that seems very high, and that is high. We don't go 8%.
No,
I would say I used to think that like anything under 5% was great, and then like really good was staying under 3%. And I think I was at like 3-point-something% on my eBay stores. Obviously, it went up a little bit when open box happened, but open box items, for those of y'all that don't know, they're Amazon warehouse deals that are listed as like new on eBay through the sale free system. Those have a higher rate of return because there's a lot of like sometimes pieces missing and stuff like that, but you're selling them at a higher margin, so it's worth it. It's like a risk versus reward thing. So yes, when I started doing open box, my returns did go up. But yeah, what we consider normal for returns versus what eBay considers normal for returns, two totally different things.
Yeah, and I would say that if you are checking your titles well before you list, I would think if you're doing 100 sales a day, it would be tough to get more than 1 or 2 returns a day.
Yep, yeah, you're right. If you're checking, and that's the biggest problem, guys, when people list from these softwares like Chili Hunter and Zeek. What they're actually doing is they're not. So when we talk about sniping titles, we're not saying just click export on all these products and list them directly to your store with the exact title. We're saying use their title, but double check it and make sure that it's like they're not doing like a bundle listing where it's like 3 items where really the ASIN's only for 1, and you think you're making this like big profit on it because they're selling it for $30 and it's really $10. No, make sure you're checking the title to make sure all of the relevant colors, quantity, sizes, everything like that is in your title before you list it to your eBay store. Because as Anthony just said, if you're doing that, then your returns should be minimal.
Yes.
But if you're not, you're going to get, and that is the number one mistake in our mentorship group.
People make. And honestly, it's a difficult mistake. It's a difficult mistake to avoid because it requires a lot more work. But if you're going to do the sniping method, it honestly is what you have to do. And since I started doing I definitely, when I first started using Chili Hunter, I wasn't as careful. I think you probably were too. I remember first you were getting tons of them too.
I just thought I was like a boss just going export. And then I was like, wait, return.
And the problem is that if you list something, say it's actually just like 1 microphone, but you list as a pack of 3, well, guess what? Now you have the lowest price on the internet for a microphone, so you're going to get a ton of sales fast.
Yeah. So you're like, I'm selling this product so well.
And then if you don't double check, and then you realize you're like, and then you're getting 20 returns this week of that item. So and a lot of angry customers.
Yeah. So Aspen says, so do you think open box is worth it even with the additional 4%? Yes, because what we've been telling people to do is to isolate the open box, create 1 account for open box, 1 account for new. If you can't do that, I still believe it's worth it. And actually, I talked to, and you saw the conversation I had with an Israeli dropshipper tonight. He was basically asking, like, what can he do without the 5% cashback card, all of that. The margins are so good with OpenBox. Like, if you're an international seller and you're using Sale Freaks, you should probably focus on the coupon hunter items and the open box items, in my opinion.
And get that extra margin.
Yeah, because the newer items are for, creating a lot of money on the back end and just getting
sales volume.
Yeah, getting a lot of sales volume and all that. But so Success with Sully had an interesting question here, because I actually listened to the eBay conference call, or the earnings report or whatever during the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter. And he said, I heard something about eBay talking about a similar program like FBA for eBay. Don't think they'll do it, but that would be pretty cool to try it out. So what's actually interesting in that call, they specifically, some of the analysts for these big companies that give eBay ratings and like these bigger company ratings on like whether it's a buy or a sell, hold, all that. They were able to ask questions, and one of the questions came up about this strategy, and basically the CEO of eBay right away was like, no, we're not doing that, because I think eBay knows that it's going to cost too much money to get this program running. And why would they try to compete with Amazon?
Well,
They're not Amazon.
They don't have the infrastructure with UPS either that Amazon does. Where Amazon has that Prime deal with UPS, which I think is probably some kind of long-term deal they arrange where they're getting a ridiculous rate for shipping.
And same with Walmart. Walmart has that same thing too.
So I wonder if eBay is able to get a similar thing set up. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't. eBay, I mean, this might end up being too long of a rant, but eBay needs to figure out what they do best, because eBay's all over the place. I mean, anyone who's been dropshipping for the last year realizes that they make decisions that have absolutely no logical reasoning behind them, such as flagged accounts not performing as well as an account that's only a week old. And we've seen it all the time in the mentorship group. People create a new account and they're selling like crazy with high margins. They're outselling people that have an aged account with tens of thousands of feedbacks, and it just seems like the incentives are wrong there. So
yeah, So Ecom Tomcat says, do you think it's possible to net 20 to 30% profit margin if you pick the right products?
Yes, but I don't think it's reasonable. I think it's possible, but I think you have to be like really special.
I just thought, it's not sustainable. Maybe you can get lucky and sell a few products with that, but it's not going to long term. No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I just think it depends. I mean, I'm not going to say no, because it just depends. If you have the right source or something that no one else is doing, it's possible. But I just think that in what I've seen, that would be like a white elephant, right? Like I just haven't seen other people doing that sustainably for a long term. But
so there is one method on Amazon that we do see those margins for Amazon dropshipping, and that is the private label dropshipping. But you're shipping from China, it takes 2 to 3 weeks. If you get a return, you're eating the cost of the item, because you're not going to return it back to China.
Right.
So if you're dropshipping from like AliExpress, then it's possible, but it's not really, you're not actually getting those margins, because when the return happens, you just wiped out, 3 or 4 sales right there. Or if you're doing a 20%, you wiped out 5 sales.
I would say that if anyone is telling you they're getting 20 to 30% profit margins, I would be very, very skeptical about whether they're telling you.
Yeah, not saying it's not possible, just saying you got to be a skeptic.
And we don't know how to sell stuff and make 30%.
Yeah,
so
that's not
we can't teach you that. If we knew that, we would be really rich.
Yeah. Yeah, our course would be more than $97 if I could do the same volume I'm doing and make 20 to 30% margins. Anyway, so how do you guys deal with TBA tracking? We went over that earlier. We talked about the Blue Pair Express and how SaleFreaks now converts that tracking to
in the Blue Pair Express. I think around 4 weeks ago was something that you could do without having SalesFreak, but now you need to have a software that actually has a deal with Blue Care. So it's another reason to get on software if you're having problems with the TBA. So SalesFreak now automatically converts TBA tracking to Blue Care and uploads them to eBay when it does an auto order. So
actually Ace Man makes a good point. I can show you how to make 30 plus margin, but it ain't from retail sources. Exactly. That's a whole different game. And like, dude, there's one person, I don't know if it's this Ace Man guy or not. Like, I hope it's not. I hope it's not you, Ace Man. But there's one guy who's in one of the dropshipping groups I'm in, and anytime anybody talks about margins, he is like, oh yeah, I'm doing wholesale and I mark up everything 50%. And I'm just like, dude, these groups are not for wholesale dropshipping. Yeah. Like 95% of people are in here to learn about retail dropshipping. Like, it's cool that you do do wholesale drop shipping, but A, I guarantee you're not doing the volume that we are, and like B, not everyone has access to wholesalers because you got to have all the tax permits. You got to set up relationships.
You have to be very professional and have experience dealing with
exactly
making those connections and those relationships.
And there's a guy, Noah Mensis, who's in here most of the time. He actually, I went on his channel and we talked about it a little bit. One of his suppliers sells poker tables, so he's got to handle the returns for that unless the shipment's messed up or anything like that. So you're dealing, and like that's expensive to ship a poker table back.
All very heavy item.
Yeah, so it's just like there's a lot of nuances in wholesale dropshipping where people say they're getting 50% margins, or like the private label dropshipping,
but doesn't reflect their true cost.
Probably. Exactly. You're not looking at the back end of these transactions where we get shipping labels for free, and like if a piece is missing or anything like that.
One of the other aspects too is that what we're doing retail dropshipping is pretty much, you can just start out and get going. You don't have, eventually you can automate it a lot with VAs and stuff. And it seems like that other fields of dropshipping may have higher profits, but it also requires more time commitment. You might have to fly and meet wholesalers in person. You might have to do things like that.
Like go to conventions and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that I'm not the same as the guy who said 20 or 30% margins earlier. I never want to say something's impossible, but so I think, wholesale dropshipping, maybe high margins are possible. Maybe 50% overall is possible. Just that we're not experts in that, and we can't teach you how to do that. So.
Yeah, definitely not. So Warren Fields says, I've got about 55 feedback right now. Every time someone opens a return case or negative feedback, my sales drop basically to zero for 2 days. Is this normal for a new seller? My personal opinion is I think so. Yeah. I mean, eBay is very, very sensitive right now on any little issue, and it's like a new account. I feel like they just want to make sure that the person's not doing anything sketchy.
I mean, it's one thing that we also learned from the mentorship group. I think both of us probably had a different opinion of this 3 months ago. I think eBay really cares about how you're dealing with everything, the timeliness you're doing it. I think even with older accounts. So on my accounts now, I'm putting extra care into resolving cases as soon as possible, answering questions as soon as possible, actually putting more effort in. And, I think you saw that in the manual store, right? Where you uploaded a tracking number that was overdue, and then like 20 minutes later, you started getting sales on the item.
Dude, that was the craziest thing to me.
So,
like literally one item that I was late on a shipment, and I uploaded the tracking, and right away I got a sale. Like that was nuts.
Yeah,
it just like proved to me like there's no way that's.
But I mean, I remember talking to you a few months ago, and we both kind of came to the conclusion that it doesn't matter, that feedbacks aren't really that important, that answering questions that quickly are. And I know that's the case for you because you started doing more with your VAs answering, and you didn't answer questions as often and stuff. And I think that at least for what we've seen in recently is starting to prove that the little things are important to eBay too.
So. Yeah, and that's one thing I'm human. I mean, I can change my mind. People will look back at my videos and be like, "Wait, he said he didn't answer questions. I didn't." And I was killing it.
Yeah, and you were making a lot of money.
But then things have happened where obviously eBay likes it more the better you treat your customers, aka answering questions quicker, answering all questions you get, things like that. So yes, I wasn't wrong. I just changed
the other
my
thing
mind.
is I remember saying this to you like a year ago before I even started dropshipping, and I remember you were doing really well, and I said that there's a point where right now you're doing so well that efficiency isn't as important because you're just making so much money.
Yeah.
But when things start getting worse, you start focusing more on becoming more efficient. So it's one of those things where when you're making so much money, who cares about making the extra $2,000 a month? You do, but at the same time, it's like, I'm making so much money, who cares, right? When things start to hurt, you start to hurt more, you start digging deeper and trying to actually solve problems. So,
and I've said this before, like, if I could take what I'm doing now, and I did that like in March and April, when literally in March and April, I think April was a little bit less, but March was $15,000 net profit on eBay. Dude, if I knew everything I did, knew now and what I'm doing now, and the coupon hunter was the thing, and Mr. Rebates was the thing, and all of that.
Oh my God. Yeah,
I would have made $25K probably in those months. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous to you guys that I'm like talking like this, but it's true. Like, it's mind blowing how much better at dropshipping we are now because of all the stuff we've had to deal with.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm still making less money working twice as hard, but I'm still making enough for it to be worth it because it's like I wasn't working at all then. I just kind of threw up a bunch of items and made money. It was ridiculous.
Well, we're still seeing it a little bit with the UK people where they're just cranking out the locator and getting really good results.
Yeah, that's one thing. The UK market right now, from everyone we talk to in the UK, they're being a little like weird about stuff right now.
It seems like they're almost
sensitive.
like behind us 6 months or something.
Exactly. Like eBay is starting to like send them messages on like the item location and like all that stuff, whatever.
We're starting to see the same story we saw before March and April with them now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from students from UK, they're doing amazing. So yeah, the sales are pretty great there.
So Jeremy wants to know, Tyler, after talking to Joe, what did you do different to grow your flag store again besides lowering margin on front end? I mean, so I don't know if we should, out of respect for Joe, like I'll say this, like I'll say it takes, to make the most money on a store, you got to keep adding items. Like if you're making $2,000 with 10,000 items, with 20,000 items, you're going to make $4,000. Like that's just the way it is, as long as you select the items in the same fashion that you got to that.
I think the key is just hard work, to be honest. Yeah. And it's one of those things where you need to be habitually doing things daily. So I know both of us have gotten into points where we haven't listed items in a week or so, or gone a week without listing or something.
Well, that's why it's amazing now that we don't have to worry about that. With the sales hunter, like automatically sniping other sellers' items, and the coupon hunter, because I actually haven't listed in a while. Yeah. I listed a bunch of open box items last week, and outside of that, I mean, that's like the only time I've listed in a couple or 3 weeks, I think, because of everything else has just been store cleanup, like you were saying.
Well, I actually had a student yesterday I was talking to in the mentorship, and I told him that I think putting the coupon hunter, even if you don't want to grow that fast, and just putting it for 5 items a day, eBay is going to look at that and be happy, because I think one of the things Joe kind of shared with us is that eBay likes consistency. Mm-hmm. They like seeing that you're doing something every day. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I think I've definitely neglected. I know you have too, and probably everyone has, of trying to be consistently add and remove or something like that every day. And I think it's one of those things, just like I said before with the efficiency, is we didn't look at this that deeply when everything was going great, but now we're trying to find ways to make things work, and it just seems like this is important now. So
yeah. Tyler, I made a store where I used no software and have 146 items made over. See, I'm telling you, some like the new stores are killing it, and manual stores do very well, but
hard work.
It's hard work. So if you want to do a manual store, I mean, watch my series.
I think manual store is a really nice idea for international sellers.
I agree.
Especially if you're living in a country where the cost of living isn't very high and you don't need to make as much money per month to survive as you do in the US. I think it's a really nice source, because you can actually, if you're working in Colombia where the minimum wage or the average wage is like $300-400 a month, and you can work in a manual store for 10 hours a day and make like 3 times that amount of money, it's probably worth it. So
agreed. I mean, it's no cost to start. And I mean, if you can't make $300 or $400 on a manual store like a month with, I would say all you need is like 50 to 100 items for that, based on what I've seen. And I tell people this. So when you're doing Sale Freaks, that you're only using Amazon as a source right now, or if they add another supplier such as Walmart, then you can do Walmart as well on Sale Freaks. But anyway, you can use like Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. Create a manual store. Have a manual store to complement your Sale Freak store. There's a guy I actually met out in Vegas, and he started drop shipping. He actually uses Sale Freaks, and he does he bought like a bunch of stealth eBay accounts, and he does Sale Freaks for one of them. And he actually does like Walmart for another one. And I think he said he has like 2 others where he just uses other big retailers and has all of them separated, and is like, that's a good way to like kind of reduce your variance and risk and stuff. Definitely. But yeah, I highly suggest you guys that want to start a manual store, watch my eBay series on starting an eBay store with a $0 investment, and just follow along with what I'm doing there. And like, I talk about all my customer service issues, things like that. I have 13 items now, and I've sold almost $3,000 in like 6 weeks.
No, that's with very high margins, right? Or fairly high margins.
Yeah, decent margins. Yeah. They're not like amazing, but the reason that they're so good is because if you're using Walmart as a source and you get a multi-quantity sale and the item's under $35, you get to keep the shipping on both of them. So there's like one item I sold a quantity of 4. It was $100 and something sale, and I made like $30 something on it.
Wow.
So yeah, like those kind of margins happen, not like consistently. Obviously, the guy that was saying, "Can you make 30% margins?" No, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes with those sources because you're getting the free shipping. But anyway, that's a whole nother. We can do a whole nother live on that kind of stuff. But I saw a channel about using Overstock as a supplier. Any experience or info about that? So I use Overstock. Have you ever shopped at Overstock?
No, I haven't.
I use Overstock for my Amazon dropshipping business. And the great thing about them is if you use the Club O rewards and the coupons, you literally can get 20% off. So, and along with cashback and all of that. But anyway, who is Joe? So do you want to answer who is Joe?
I mean, Joe's just the boss of Sales Freak. Well, no, I shouldn't say it that way because that might confuse people.
They would think
he's the owner.
Freaks.
So Joe is just a very, very, very good dropshipper who has been around for a long time. And every time when I first started out with Sales Freak and I had a question, and sometimes Tyler didn't know the answer, I'd post it in the Sales Freak chat, and Joe always knew. He always knew everything. So
yeah. And
I think recently, the last few weeks, we've been talking more with Joe privately about certain strategies and stuff, and it just he continues to be the well that keeps giving. So yeah, go back and watch that video with Joe. I've actually had a couple students that have like asked me questions, and I said, you know what, you need to watch Joe's video. And then like they came back like the next day and they said, I watched that, now I'm really motivated. One guy is like said like his sales are like have it's like turned his entire store around after watching that video with Joe.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
He talks about a lot of stuff, and he didn't reveal everything. So yeah, here's the Facebook group that you were asking for, Lazy Abram. So if y'all are in the course, and I need to figure out a way to send to because I think I sent an email out with this, but I don't know if it went through. I think it might have gone in the spam folder. But we created this Facebook group. Literally, there's no post in there yet because of the fact it is a brand new. There's one person, Shyla Barnes. There's one person because she messaged me on Facebook, and I was like, this was like 3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll create that Facebook group right now, and she was the first one to join. So do not ask to join unless you are in the course.
And we go back and look at it. We go back and look up who's in the course and stuff.
No, so if you ask to join and you give us your email address and it's not in the course, we're just gonna send tons of spam to your email address. So don't do that. So yeah, guys, just give your. I believe you have to give your email address when you sign up, and that's how we can verify that you are who you are. So make sure you sign up with the same email address that you use to sign up for the course. Thoughts on Card Bazaar? I think it's a ripoff since you were forced to swing trade Bitcoin for 3 days. Ooh, Anthony can talk a little bit about Bitcoin, but anyway, we all know Bitcoin is.
So I actually, I have a really hard time ever endorsing a third-party gift card site not from the point that I think it's bad, but it's just that I've seen so many people get ripped off by things like this, and you never really know for sure that you're getting what you're paying for. So that said, as kind of a disclaimer, I've used Card Bazaar in the past. I think it's good. I think I personally trust them, but again, like I said, you got to be careful with stuff like this. I mean, people that might be familiar with Bitcoin might have heard of the Silk Road, which was a site that sold like drugs and illegal goods on the internet. And the thing that happened on the Silk Road really often was there'd be like some guy who would get this big reputation as being like a great source and reliable seller of like some type of product. And then they would do like this kind of sale or something, and like for 4 days make as much money as possible, and they just would never sell the items. They would never send the items out. It's called an exit scam. So I'm always afraid of these third-party gift cards, especially when it's Bitcoin, because Bitcoin transactions are unreversible. So I'm not saying. I mean, I think you've talked to the owner of Card Bazaar.
Yeah, I've talked to the owner quite a bit actually.
And I think you gave me kind of the thumbs up, saying like you kind of believe him. But at the same time, I'm just really reluctant to publicly endorse something like that because, I'm sure that guy's getting. I would bet thousands of dollars a day in people sending him Bitcoin. So if he decided just one day, I'm done with this, he could just leave with like probably $100,000 in a couple of days. So
it is scary.
So it is kind of scary. And I know for a lot of people that are first starting out, and maybe for international too, that's a lot of money. You know, if you're sending in the gift cards you're going to buy, you're sending that amount of money in, and they just catch you on one round of it. That can be devastating to some people. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But so Card Bazaar, I would say I've used it. I like it, but be real careful. Don't put money in that you can't.
Yeah, spend it right away if you put money
definitely
in.
Don't wait. Don't wait. Get the gift card. Use the gift card.
Yeah.
It's always worked fine for me.
I got ripped off for $200 for the Bitcoin and haven't tried again since. Yeah, that happens. You got to go to the right exchange, and you got to know the right way to buy.
Yeah, and the other thing is,
sorry, I'm reading messages as I talk.
The other thing is that if you're not experienced using cryptocurrencies, it's very complicated. I mean, I remember when I was talking to Tyler about getting himself set up a little bit about a year ago, and it's just not a very user friendly thing yet, I think. So if you don't really know how to use crypto that well, I suggest don't mess around with big money or money that matters to you until you feel like you have a grasp. So it's the best. For a scammer, Bitcoin is heaven. Oh, so yeah, it's every scammer is thinking of any idea of how to get people's Bitcoin off of them. So
yeah. All right. So Drew Shepard says, when did you start your no money series? Because being 19 with $100, that will help me a lot. Yeah. So check that out. I have a playlist with all those videos. I may do like a free little course on it or ebook or something on manual dropshipping. But yeah, so check out the series for now. But Mark from No BS Dropshipping had a guy on his channel that got ripped off for $5,000 on Amazon gift cards from Card Bazaar. I'll have to go check that out. I saw something about
we actually had a student in our mentorship group that had $3,000 on Card Bazaar that got stolen, but I don't think it was by Card Bazaar. I think he might have had a keylog on his computer or something.
Yeah.
But that was really, and he was not U.S. either. He was from Dominican Republic, so that actually made me really, really sad.
Yeah,
because $3,000 is a lot of money.
That goes farther in the Dominican Republic, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's probably like, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for the person, but I would guess that it
would hurt. I mean, it would hurt anybody.
It would hurt me, and I can't imagine that it's pretty tough. So
yeah, for sure. That's wild. That is wild. All right, so let's see if we got anything else. But if anything I missed, because honestly, we've been past an hour now.
Cool.
We do have one dislike now.
But, I wonder who it was.
It's someone who just stopped by. I probably know who it was. I don't want to say on here, but I know who it was. You're laughing because it's an inside joke.
All right.
Anyway, guys. Damn it, I stole my call. Anyway, guys, we're a little past the hour here. I would appreciate if you could offset that one dislike by liking it, because the percentages matter. So the more likes we have, we'll drown out that one dislike. But I am sad that it is there now.
Let's talk about the course a little bit before we go.
Okay, yeah. Lazy actually had that question right now about the next update to the course.
Cool.
Oh, Min, I skipped this question.
Okay.
You talk about the course while I find Min's
Okay, so a lot of people have asked, and I guess Tyler and I have not yet done a Q&A or like a live since we came out with the course. So people have asked, like, why did we decide to start the course, or like, I guess like what was the catalyst to get us to do it? And Tyler and I had talked about the course, I think a few months ago, like maybe in August, but we just both decided that we didn't really want to do it at that point. But once we started the mentorship group, we started realizing that like people were all having pretty much the same questions that were becoming like big hangups. And we're like taking them, something that like if they had a detailed guide of how to solve would be something that they could accomplish in an evening. And instead it was something that's taking them weeks and a lot of stress and a lot of questions and asking the same question over and over. And then another person joining the mentorship group and asking the same question again. So Tyler and I kind of decided at that point that the course was almost something that we felt like would be really useful to the mentorship group, from the fact that, we were just telling people over and over, how do you set up a safe access account? How do you set up your gift cards, blah, blah, blah. And it just became kind of repetitive in some ways. So we were like, let's just start doing the course.
Yep.
And so the idea from behind the course was really to get a guide to go from because there really doesn't exist a guide to go from step A to step Z using SalesFreak, figuring out the way to use the software. It can be complicated at times. I mean, I think for almost anyone who started out with SalesFreak, especially without a guide, it takes 3-4 weeks to start getting comfortable and growing into the software. So we think it's something that can save you a lot of time, and that's pretty important when you first start out. It also will save you money because you're not going to make mistakes that lose you money. So
yeah, 100%. I wish I had a step A to Z for SalesFreaks when I first started wanting to use it, because I wouldn't have annoyed every single person in the chat on what am I doing wrong here? What do I need to change?
I wouldn't have annoyed you when I started.
But then also, like you said, just the learning curve aspect, or well, no, that's what Jeremy just said. Sorry, the money aspect. You're getting the most out of all the fees, and that was one of my problems at the beginning. I didn't realize what I was actually paying for, and then once I started talking to the bigger dropshippers like Joe and Intui and all those guys, the legends in the WhatsApp chat. That's for those of you guys that don't know, SalesFreaks has a WhatsApp chat too with a bunch of big sellers that talk in there regularly, and those were the people that I was going to having to learn. But having a course, you can literally learn every single thing you need to know about SalesFreaks, then get in there and ask them only the questions that are really important, not annoying.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're the hungriest of learners and you were in our mentorship group, it would kind of be hard to get everything without annoying the whole group, right? Because if you're asking how do I do this, and then 10 minutes later, how do I do this? Then 10 minutes, people are gonna. I mean, you might get answers, and you probably will get answers, but it also was that's tough even for me to do to you. I don't want to ask you 15 questions in an hour because I know you're saying, okay, come on, chill out a little bit. So the course is a good way to, if you're that hungry to learn, you can go at your own pace and you can learn everything in a night. You can go back and rewatch if you thought you were confused. And there's also this comment section below every video, which there's probably been 500 comments so far. I think it shows a list of how many people, and I've answered I think every single comment. So you can specifically ask me a comment about the video that you watched and get immediate, or maybe not immediate. Sometimes it takes me a day or two to get to them, but to get a specific response to the specific question, you can say at minute 4:33 in this video, you talk about this. What do you mean? And I can actually see that, know exactly what you're talking about, and give you the exact answer you need. So that's honestly invaluable, and it's not possible to do really in the mentorship. We couldn't do that in the mentorship format.
No, you couldn't. Everything gets lost and stuff in the WhatsApp chat.
Yeah.
All right, so Min, this was Min's question, and I like Min a lot, so I wanted to make sure. I just said I like men a lot. His name's Min. M-I-N-H.
Just whoever's good at YouTube,
Win.
Please cut that out.
God.
Cut that phrase out, and let's
play
that on a loop.
No, but Min is a cool guy. He hits me up on WhatsApp and Facebook, and we chat.
Min the master.
Yeah, exactly. The poker player, Min the master, and win. But no, this is a different one. He says, Anthony, what's been your biggest lesson learned or aha moment so far this year?
That's a tough one. I started out this year, so everything has been in some ways a huge lesson or an aha moment. If I were to pick just one, I would say that helping people helped me out a lot more than I ever expected. And it's the mentorship group. When we started it, it was something that Tyler and I were just kind of talked about. And we thought it would be kind of cool, and it ended up being really valuable to me, not just in I thought it was going to be me just giving away all my information to other people, and I would maybe absorb some back. But in terms of learning dropship information, I think it's been the fastest rate of growth I've ever had, even though I started at the beginning of the year and I was learning a ton from Tyler. And then second of all, just spending that many hours talking to 60 different people is a really positive experience for me just as a person. So, I mean, I really do care about each and every single person I talk to. I always hope they're going to do well.
Connection with them.
I mean, if you talk to someone for 30 minutes to an hour, by the end of it, you tend to, I think, really care about how they're going to do. So
not only that, but you get a personal story behind each person also, which is kind of crazy, because then you just feel damn, this person needs this story.
Well, I mean, I've met people that are in similar shoes as I've been. There's a guy in Thailand who has been struggling. He's trying to make enough money to make it in Thailand, and Thailand's not an expensive country. And I'm I really want him to make it. Because I feel I can relate to that, because I've been in situations where I was in a foreign country, and even though it's not that expensive to live, you're still kind of scrapping to make it, So
yeah.
Every single person has their own motivations, and I've been it's been really cool to talk to them, and like the people that do become like super successful is awesome. Sometimes people that I don't think are going to make it end up being like some of the most successful, which is crazy. And so it's just cool to see how it all goes. And I know a lot of it for some people is sometimes luck, but it is really cool. And I guess if he was going to ask the biggest aha moment, if it's something that's absolutely applicable, I would say probably the importance of keeping up with everything. So in the beginning of the year, I was kind of under the idea that, like Tyler was saying, of like automation, trying to be as hands-off as possible. And throughout the last, I guess, 6 weeks, Tyler and I, we talked about this earlier, have kind of both realized that tiny details matter. So that's something that maybe you can, like someone who's watching this can maybe apply to their own businesses. I think that being more hands-on, and not just on customer service, not just on eBay, but even just with your software and listing and stuff like that, you need to be trying to make things habitual, trying to quickly answer questions. I think those are things that matter a lot more than I thought in the past, and I've seen a big boost in my store since I started.
Yeah, just really caring about the customer service aspect.
Yeah.
So Eric Ellis says, I wouldn't say the questions are annoying. It's just annoying that, because this is a good point.
Yeah.
It's just annoying that it's so easy to find the answers themselves. The laziness is annoying. And the people that are asking questions nonstop, I guess, they're the ones that want the easy handout answers that may have a worse chance of making it, rather than people who are problem solvers. Because dropshipping, at the end of the day, really is just about problem solving and just constantly being able to move forward. And like I talked about, the mental aspect of it. But
yeah, and Eric is also another person who's in the group. And to be honest, I do say thanks to everyone who's in the mentorship group, that when we have someone new that comes in that has a lot of questions, a lot of times people that have learned the steps in the past are happy to help them too. So it's good to have that kind of community aspect of it where everyone's getting involved. And I know sometimes it's annoying. I mean, we are answering the same questions a lot too, but everyone started at somewhere too. So.
And you know what, we expect, like when we're doing the initial one-on-ones and things like that, we expect that people are going to have the easy questions that they can just ask us right away, and we can give them immediate answers. It's the typing and the going back and forth. But yeah, I mean, so there's no problem. Oh, Ecom J in the house. That's another one of the four that was. So Sully was in here earlier, Ecom J. So you're late to the party. Sully probably left by now because he was just trying to advertise his YouTube channel, get a shout out, and then head out. So Ecom J is coming at the tail end when we're at the peak of 72 right now, just to get his shout out. So yeah, Ecom J talks a lot about Amazon dropshipping on his channel if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, he was one of the four amigos, we'll call them, me, Paul, Sully, and Ecom J. So yeah. I mean, what do you think? You think we should end this live now? If anyone has any last minute questions,
let's do a wrap up.
They just want to throw in, Ecom J, you got any questions for us? I know you just woke up, but at least you got your shout out in. Oh wait, this guy said, can you show me? Oh wait, he was just being sarcastic.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, appreciate everyone coming out to the live. Appreciate the 42 people that hit like. I even appreciate the 48. Yeah, I even appreciate the 2 people that clicked dislike, because that means they stopped by and they were here for us. So thank you guys, anyone who took the time to like or dislike us, but we prefer the likes. And as Jeremy says, this isn't my words. I'm not advertising here. I'm just reading. I'm reading what
this
Jeremy
is not a
wrote.
sales pitch, right?
He said, "Go buy the course," and I believe he wants you to use the discount code in the link so you get the best deal possible as well. For the 50% off holiday special, the course is $73.50. I know we have been doing it at $97 lately, so it might not seem like 50% off, but it is, because the original price is $147. The $97 is also a discount, but we're doing even a deeper discount now. So yeah. You guys should check that out. Highly suggest the course for anybody who wants to go the automated route instead of the manual route. There's been a lot of talk about the manual route here, and I'm not against it. I'm not against the manual route, guys, but I do think there is a need for both things.
Yes.
So anyway, you got any you got any words of advice for anyone out there watching right now who wants to get into drop shipping? Or
so if you're going to start out drop shipping and you want to have the best way to guide yourself through the processes of going from like, you know, I guess like from a newbie to somewhat like, I guess above average, advanced, maybe not expert, but advanced. And you can pay $75 for it. I mean, the course is just where it's at. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, we made it, and yeah, I know it's like, it's our own thing and we're always going to say it's great, but I mean, it really is the way that you can go and you can start pocketing money pretty quickly if you follow the steps. So, I mean, I guess that's my closing statement, because it's what we worked on. We worked on this for a long time. We put a lot of work into it, and it's going to help. It helps people out. I mean, it will help you better than I think any other resource right now for that. So,
yeah. And guys, this person said just struggling with understanding all the Sale Freaks filters that is in the course. And we are, now that Anthony's here, we are going to be doing some joint videos for the course. We're going to be doing updates, all of that. Kristen, thanks for joining us for the entire thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but
yeah, she was there.
Oh, he's back for another shout out. So Sully, apparently he's trying to make it look like he was here the whole time, but I don't think he was. Jeremy, thanks for being here. Luxury Card Store, as always, thanks for stopping by. Min, everyone who was here. Dropshipping is a way of life. I wish I could shout them all out.
Just do it. Go ahead. Shout every single one.
They all show up, and I love that. You know, I have so many people that come back and ask questions and are engaging on a regular basis. Because not to sound too cliche, but when you have this amount of people that are here regularly, I mean, it really is like a community.
It is,
because you're talking to the same people every time you do the live. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys coming out. Look forward to the next one. Obviously, Anthony and I are going to be doing another one. The camera will be a lot better. Like I said, I wish I could show you guys the setup. I'll actually post a picture on Instagram of our setup. So follow me at Dropship Tyler if you want to see how ridiculous this room looked for this live. And yeah, that's it, guys. Hope everyone has a great Wednesday. And until the next video, yeah.
Later, guys.
Later, guys.